they're still building next door and they're running at brick saw, so I've got to try and get this intro done before they fire it up again. So I've made a stupid mistake. I had Christmas holidays, month of work, then I took long service leave, which was fantastic. I spent a lot of time up at the other place. That's the reason I haven't had videos out in the last week as well. I've just been a bit busy up there. So I got back yesterday and I blitzed into that C4 and pulled it apart. So this video is about disassembling the C4 and assessing it. Here we go. It's going to start again. And I was a bit worried because it had been stored for a long time and the torque converter was full of water and all this sort of other stuff, so I really didn't know what I had. But I knocked this video out in very little time. I think I spent a couple of hours pulling the C4 apart and just got the camera running. Edited it last night. I went to work today, that's why I'm dressed like this, and then found out it's my day off. So I do a 9-day fortnight. So I took today off as well. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy. Oh, I've been cleaning up. Nearly cleaned all that up. A bit of Fairlane stuff there. A lot of rubbish in there, but yeah, I'll get to that. Nearly cleaned that off. These are bits I had plated actually. That's for the transmission for the Fairlane. It is missing its little bracket. So I have to scrape some of that zinc off and just weld a little bracket on there or something to that effect. For some reason I have a myriad of different dipsticks of different lengths. So I meant to check the one on the XD before I took it to the other place. Right, shed full of crap. Fairlane stuff and Fairlane and XA and all sorts of crap in there. Transmission corner. So the Trimatic, a couple of grey matter manifolds that are going. A Borgie 40. That's the 40 out of the Fairlane. I didn't know, I knew it wouldn't be a 35, but I wasn't sure what revision it's actually a 40. And that thing, a C4. So I'm going to clean that bench off and put a transmission stand on it, and we'll have a look at that. Right, Ford C4. There's a lot of information on these. I'm only going to just tell you a little bit because I haven't researched it. Just stuff that I know about them. And I last rebuilt one of these, I think, in 1992. So a while ago. It hasn't got its bell housing on. There it is there. It was hydroblasted. I used it on the engine stand. And again, we'll do the same sort of thing with the case as well. I don't like rattle can silver painted transmissions. Now this was Nathan, I forgot his surname, Hickey. Nathan Hickey's transmission out of an XC paddle van. Now, there's a couple of things with this. Converter was full of water and it's missing the input shaft. I took a punt and ordered another input shaft. It was $50 or $48 or something. I don't know what this is going to be like inside. It could be a mess because it isn't blocked off there. This is a pan fill, you can see on the pan. That's where the thing's filled from. Pan filled C4s also have that ramp up to the bell housing. Case filled ones are filled from here and they're sort of flat and the bell housing comes straight up from there. So these were on all 302 Australian Ford cars. 351s never used them. You'll get people saying, oh, C10's a factory. Some guy on Facebook said that. Factory transmission in XWGT was a C10. And there's two things with that. No, it wasn't. And there's no such thing as a C10. These are C4s. They're American gearboxes, built by Americans and designed by them. And they call them C4s. The C10 nickname has waned a bit. You used to hear a lot about it in the 80s and 90s. You don't sort of hear about it anymore because people are sort of, with the internet, world's a smaller place and more people learn stuff. Now, all 302. In the United States, some of these were in 2V 351 cars. And my XW has a C4, which is out of a 351 Mustang, a 2-barrel one. But in Australia, we only put these in 302s. As a pan-filled, sorry. Case-filled ones were also in 6-cylinder cars, in 4.1 litre cars with towing packs or heavy-duty towing pack, I think. Whereas we never put the case-filled one in the 302s, we only used the pan-filled. Where the Americans, my brother's got a case-filled one in his Mustang, and that pumps 450-something horsepower. Naturally, when you put a lot of horsepower through these, they'll fail. The Achilles heel is in your Planetary assemblies. There's two of them in there. Now, there's a couple of things with this. 351 cars all used FMXs, whether it be a 2-barrel XYXAXB K-code, or a GT Falcon, or an LTD, or an XD 5.8, they all use an FMX. FMXs are a cast iron case, alloy extension housing, alloy bell housing. C6s, on the other hand, are alloy all the way through, but the bell housing is part of the case as well. Some of the heavy-duty C6s actually have ribs, strengthening ribs, and they use those in big blocks. They're available in 335 or Windsor and Cleveland bell housing pattern or big block pattern, but small block C6 transmissions are reasonably hard to get. These are great because they only use about collectively 25 horsepower to run, where Power Glides, I think, 15 horsepower, Turbo 400s, they reckon 45, about the same as an FMX. C6s are very thirsty. They use a lot more. There's something like 65 horsepower just to run the things. Now, there are 3 ways to get into this: through the pan, extension housing, and through the front pump. Yeah, extension housing will have the gear for the speedo drive and the governor. Take the pan off, you can access your valve body, selector shaft seal, which is a pain in the neck in these things. The selector shaft seal is on the inside of the gear casing. The kickdown is just an O-ring. Yeah, does this move? Oh, look. And of course, to overhaul it, you've got to take the valve body out, and you've got to take the front pump out, and everything comes out through the front. There are 2 servos, low reverse, that's your first and your reverse, and intermediate, which is second and third. These are unique in that the intermediate band can be taken without or replaced without removing the transmission from the car. You can just sort of feed it around. Right, so I'm no idea about this. I'm going to pull it apart and find out what I need for it. Whether I need just a seal kit and some little rubber balls to go in the valve body and this sort of stuff. My XD, I overhauled that transmission in 92 and it stopped selecting gear. You had to go between park and drive and keep doing that before it would select. I thought it might be a valve body problem, and it was. They're little rubber balls. They were all hard and they weren't sealing properly. Right, so I guess the next thing to do is to set this thing up on a tripod. I'll find my transmission. I've got a transmission stand here. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm not holding an awful lot of hope with this because the modulator valve's rusted. And that's not a good sign. I'm just going to use the zap gun to take this off. As well. Oh, yeah, that'll fit. Yeah, that's a bit of a alarm bell job. But nothing to worry about so far. That's good. Pan, bit of black stuff, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Gasket's a bit how you go. But it doesn't matter. That had me a bit worried. We've got a dead insect of some description. Filter here, valve body. I'll take the selector shaft stuff off. This is the stand I was talking about. You can swivel it and rotate it as well. I'm just going to pop this selector shaft off. This is swaying. It's because this bench isn't very strong. There's your kickdown rod. Now when you put these back together, it's really easy to stuff this up because the you got to make sure that because the selector shaft runs on a pintle that goes, or sort of a valve that goes in and out. And the kickdown is a button next to it, and you've got to get them in the right order. It's easy to stuff it up, or at least it's easier to sort of trap one of them. You've got to be kidding me. Now the other thing is the wiring on the Fairlane is different from this. This has the conventional 4 pin, so 2 are reverse and 2 are neutral start. The Fairlane's got a different arrangement. It's a bigger loom because there's a transducer for the speedo. They don't run a cable. So I'll check all this. I can bench check this thing on the with the multimeter to make sure it's working. They do stuff up, and they're about $100 for a new one. I'm just going to pop that off, and they're quite. That actually feels pretty good. Sometimes I feel like they're full of sand. The selector shaft's a pain, as I said. You access it from inside. Alright. So, what size are these? Oh yeah, I started doing those, didn't I? And you should be clean. Like, I'm filthy at the moment, but really when you're doing a transmission you want a clean room. So we'll just pull this strainer off. This strainer's got nothing in it, which is really good news. The other thing is the fluid's an orangey colour, which signifies some burning, but it's not serious enough to be worried. There's no chunks of band in here and bits of Planetary assembly or anything like that. It actually is quite good. I'll just pull that out. I don't know if you can see, that is really clear. That's good news. When we go to take the servos off, there will be some lubricant that comes out. Okay. There's your detent for your selector. Runs on that little guy there. You can see there's nothing between first and park now. We don't want to lose that. So these are all the same length from memory. Damn. I just dropped something. Okay. Now there is your selector that has to run in there. So that little guy there has to run in there. That's your kick down, which is that lever. So you've got to be really careful you get them in the right way. Now let's have a looky. Something did drop out. There's your intermediate band, the low reverse band down here. What is it that dropped out? I'm just going to go and get a magnet just a moment. Looking at this, that band does feel a bit sloppy. The parking pole runs on that lever there, and it's behind here. So that's park first. We've got to pop that modulator off. The servos, they've got to come out. And I might move the camera actually. I might just take the selector shaft out first. That's the little guy that dropped out. I did take off all of the bolts from the valve body, the little smaller ones that are to actually separate the valve body. Whoa, I've got the camera in the way. The camera's really in the way. Hang on a second. Oh, damn. I would have thumped it, but I couldn't. Right, there's the nut. There's an O-ring in there for the kick down. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. Hopefully you can see that. What if I go there? Is that better? Right, that nut comes off, and then the whole selector shaft will withdraw. like that. Now these are shocking, but that's a good one. I've seen them all pitted around there where the seal runs. The seal's a pain because it is. Let me just take this stuff out. That's your kickdown lever. Your nut. There's your seal there, sorry, on the outside, but you've got to undo the thing on the inside. Right. I've already found my first mistake. All of these little bolts in the valve body that I took out actually hold the valve body together. It's still in one piece, but I should have probably left those. I'm just going to pop this off. This should just have a the speedo drive gear and the governor in it. I just hope I'm got to get. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. Inside that shaft there, that's the O-ring for the kickdown, which is very easy to replace. But unfortunately, it's a bit hard, that one. Unfortunately, most of the time it's the seal, not the actual O-ring. I'm just going to pop this whole pair of garage trackers under here, because I know that so much ore is going to come out of here, but it certainly will when I start taking servos out. There we go. Lovely and dry. I'll get that blasted as well. Just hydro, never sandblasted. There's the governor. That has had some water ingress there. You can see those bolts are rusty. So I can take the governor off. There's the valve there for it. The next thing is a modulator. That's this rusty guy here. I've still got my spanner, which I used to use to remove them. Look at that. So it's on a thread. Now the modulator valve, oh, there's going to be a bit of a leak here. The modulator valve on this is going to need to be replaced. There's a pin in here which is quite easily lost, and that's that guy there. Now what this does, it controls your shift. Generally, I'm not sure about this one, but there's a grub screw in there which you can screw in or out, and it lengthens or shortens that pin. You screw them in, you get a sort of a longer duration of gear and a harsher change up, if you know what I mean. At least that's how I remember it. That is probably still functional. Actually, if I press that down, yeah, it still works, I think. Anyway, modulator valve. Now, I reckon when I take these out, there's going to be a bit of a mess. That's the intermediate band, sorry, the low reverse band. That's the intermediate on the other side. There's just a few bolts on it. I'm tipping it is going to be a bit messy though. So we'll pop that out. I'm just going to do this gingerly. There's a bit of spring pressure behind them. Here we go. I thought that might happen. We'll just let it drain off a bit onto the old garage trackies. And we'll take it out and have a look. Did you make a noise? Yes. My daughter's here making noises. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out. This has got quite a lot of spring pressure behind it. The one on the other side has a B on the outside. There's different grades of servo piston. I think the A is the strongest one, and then as the letters go down, they're not quite as strong. So, you know, there's a big orange O-ring behind here. I probably should have released the band before I did this. And the usual stuff, we'll get it all hydroblasted and all that sort of stuff, particularly that bit that'll look nice or clean up. There's the servo piston itself. Hang on a minute, can I push that back? That's actually still quite pliable. That really does surprise me, because I would have thought that'd be really hard and crusty by now, but that actually feels pretty good. That's actually wonderful. Right. Okie dokie. I might just pop that governor off. Now the governor has a valve, and they don't often stick in these. There is a remedy for that though. And I remember reading it or watching it or something. I can't remember. the finer details, but there is a mod where you can put a check ball in there that rattles around that stops the governor from sticking. In saying that though, I've never seen one stick, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. The other thing is there's a Sprague clutch in here. There's a one-way clutch at the back. If I rotate that towards myself, you can see it's going reverse. But that clutch pack won't. That's controlled with the one-way clutch down the back. And that seems to be working quite well. Yeah, there it is there. Just got to make sure that's free. I can't remember. It all seems to be working quite well. That's nice and free. There is a trick. You can put I think it's a ball in there. You take that slide out. I can't remember. Anyway, that's your governor. So we'll pop that off to the side. And we'll whip him over. Maybe take that band out. And we'll take the servo cover off here and find out what's there, eh? There we go. A little bit more oil. This is a B, this one. These are little band adjusters. They sort of sit against the band, and the threaded part that you screw in at the side. I can't find anything. Pushes against it. Naturally, all this stuff has to be completely cleaned up. There's the adjuster there. Sits in there, and you screw that down and lock up. Once you get to X number of inch pounds, I can't remember what the measurement is. That should be somewhat easy to take out now. Here we go. Oh, that had quite a bit of oil in it. Yeah. But all those O-rings get replaced anyway. Okay, so I think it's time to take the front pump out. And I can't remember where all these bolts go. If it was a car I could remember, but a transmission pump, I'm going to forget. Now the first one of these I overhauled had no drive in first or reverse. That's because the low reverse band wasn't energizing. Because these things have a bunch of slipper rings on the back of them. And I'll show you in a second what went wrong. I had the wrong size in. Damn. That all came out as one. I didn't expect that. How does that band look? That doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look bad at all. Alright. Here's one of our clutches with a thrusty on it. Now these are the rings I'm talking about. See these endless rings? Can you see it? Right at the bottom of the screen you can. If you get those ones the wrong size, they don't seal in that drum. Ergo, it doesn't work properly. Now I'm going to have to pull this front pump apart because I don't like what I'm seeing in terms of corrosion and water and all that sort of stuff. It does look clear down there though. But I was particularly concerned about that. So far I haven't seen anything in this transmission at all which is alarming. I haven't seen anything alarming, if that makes any sense. Okay. There's our forward clutch pack. No, there's our forward clutch pack. In there. We'll pull that out. There's a big circlip around there we've got to take out. We can take those clutches out. I just want to keep this in some sort of order. I've forgotten how it goes. Oh, that goes in there. Alright. Cool. Then we've got this thrusty. That fits in there. And we've got the Planetary assembly there. Here, we'll have a look at that. I just want to lay all this out in one sort of thing. So it's going to go like that. That goes on top. And then we've got the rear one, which I think has a circling in it, which I might have to undo. Let me just clean up here, because I've got mess everywhere, and we can talk about it. So I'm going to try and pop this low reverse band out, which is very simple. It's a much heavier band, and again, I can't see anything wrong with that. Can't see anything at all wrong with that. And that goes down there in that pile. There's also a little pintle thing that comes from the band adjuster, which is much broader than the low reverse. Okay, now down here there's also thrust washers. You've got to be careful of these, particularly when you're putting them together. They actually locate on those pins in the drum itself. Now pop it on the back of that. That runs on the spigot. That spigot, sorry, runs on this planetary assembly here. Now in there is a circlip that I need to get out before I can get that clutch pack out. I don't know that I've still got the right tools for it, which is a bummer. I'm having trouble getting that circlip out. I'm just going to take it apart. I'm just going to take that planetary race out. Seems alright. It's a good idea just to put bits and pieces back so you know exactly how you pull them off. Now, that makes a bit better access. That's the circlip there. Can you see it? There, I've just got to get that drum out. And I don't want to break these because I've already bent them once. But now I can see what I'm doing. And it comes straight off. Beautiful. Lovely. That'll let this drum come out. Hang on, we've just got to get another go at it. Oh, damn. Oh no, we got it. We are golden. One thing I've noticed about this, there's thrust washers everywhere. One thing I've noticed is there's a lot of, this is the reverse drum, there's a lot of burning around where the band was. I need to clean that up. That looks like a crack. I don't think it is, but we have to be mindful of that sort of thing. There's the shaft. There's a lot of crap on that. I don't know why all that rusty crap's around there, but we need to clean that right up. It's probably a good thing we didn't run this. We'll take that off. That's got two hydraulic lines into the body itself. There we go. That's your parking pole with water damage. And that works by that gear coming out and locking onto there. I didn't see. Is it going to come out? Yep. I'm just going to have to study this when I put it back together because I'm forgetting stuff already. Right, that's the parking pole. And that can come out. It's just got a couple of things, and that sprag will come out with those bolts. I knew there was something I'd forgotten about. Right, so the last major bit is the one-way clutch, and there's other sort of small bits and pieces. I've loosened these. Where's the other bolt? Damn. Now the one-way clutch is actually disassemblable. There it is there. It only turns one way, not back the other. You can take those balls out and those springs. I'm not going to touch it. I think that's fine. So I'm just going to put these bolts back in. And I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to bother pulling it apart. And that's around about it. I want to set everything up here and just pull those clutches apart and have a look at them. I want to know exactly what parts I need to order. So here's our casing. It looks lovely and empty. I do want this to be cleaned up properly. I might put it back together, just the shell, like the extension housing on here, the servo covers. I might put the selector shaft in just loosely, just so it's all sealed up except the front, and just get him to blast around the outside of it. I don't want anything on the inside. Those bushes actually look pretty good, and I've got no intention of changing those. And the inside I'll clean with a degreaser and water and let it dry out. I'll dry it over the heat gun or whatever. Blow it all out and I can start reassembling it again. Right, this C4, it's all empty. And we'll take it and get it cleaned. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but it's certainly worth a try. Let's have a look at the insides. Okay, we've got the front pump. The front pump looks alright. I haven't taken it apart yet. I'm assuming it's alright. Water shouldn't have been able to get in there, but I do have the input shaft coming, which goes through there and into the drum. It's in the post, should get here tomorrow. The output shaft looks good. There's no issues with it, except it's really messed up in here, just prior to where the governor mounts. I don't know the reason for that. They work like this. So you've got your intermediate band, intermediate servo, which operates on that drum. You can see that drum is clean. Yeah. All of the low reverse stuff is done at the back. There's the Planetary assembly and the drum with the clutch in it. Low reverse band is huge, and this one looks like it's burnt and debris got in there. It looks really messed up. That's the low reverse servo, and it's still in good condition. It's pliable. There's nothing wrong with it. The band looks in good condition. The one-way sprag is working well. The one-way clutch, sorry. It can be called a sprag clutch as well. All this stuff needs cleaning. The parking pawl, again, in great condition. And of course, the valve body and governor. Now, let's have a look inside these guys. Between each component is a thrust washer. That looks like a fiberglass one. It's in really good condition, so we can't forget about that. Again, these rings here are endless, sort of like piston rings. We cannot afford to put the wrong size in because the transmission won't work. See, they've got little monkey grip things there. They're an endless ring. Let me stick this on a tripod just a moment. So when we put it all together, the basic transmission components just fit in like that. There's a rotate, of course. This sprag, or what do you call it, one-way clutch, is mounted to the casing and just fits inside the back. But it's important when you're sort of mucking around with this stuff to get it into some sort of order. So I'm going to take the clutch out and put it back there. I'm going to take this drum off. That looks like it's had water in it as well. It has got that scaly, rusty stuff. I need to investigate that. It does wipe off very easily though, so there's no permanent damage. The fluid that was in this machine was dirty, but it didn't smell. It just had a bit of mild burning. I'd hazard to guess it's here, causing that sort of problem. Anyway, I'm going to put that there. Again, we can't afford to forget thrust washers. Whoa. When we put this thing together, how does that look? Even that doesn't look too bad. When we assemble this, we'll put a bit of Snow White petroleum gel in there, right? Because it's alright with transmission fluid, and they will stick those thrust washers down so they don't move around on assembly. Yeah? Don't use grease, whatever you do, because it plays havoc with the clutches. There's another one. Just don't lose track of which... there's more of that damage. Don't lose track of which thrust washer goes where. That's actually... we've got to this right in the nick of time, I must say. So I'm going to pop that in there. This one goes on the back of the Planetary assembly. The Planetary assembly, this is the low reverse one, feels really good. These are the weak link with really high horsepower transmissions. But this one is really nice. It's cool. Again, thrusty goes in. No. The thrusty goes here, you idiot. Goes like that. And we'll just put that in there. So it's probably easier. We put that on. We put that over the top. It shows you the planetary assembly in operation. And then that goes in there. And locks in. Which I don't think I've got it in properly because it's sticking out too much, but you get the picture. Okay. Okay, so we just need, as far as this housing is concerned, we just need to clean that up. 1200 wet and dry, I reckon it'd be good for that. Okay, now let's get to the juicy stuff. Another thrust washer. In good nick. Well, certainly not bad anyway. We've got this sun gear. Oh, that sun gear is what the Planetaries run on. That is removable, but I can't see any point in removing it, so I'm not going to. That should just drop in. Why? There we go. Can you see? I don't think you can you? Right. The next planetary assembly. Looks pretty good. It just goes in there with the thrust, which goes in there. I might put new thrust bearings in, I'm not sure. I don't really want to, because then you've got a whole different set of issues that can potentially go wrong. That looks good too. Now, this is where stuff gets interesting. Another thrust washer. And we've got our clutch packs. And that's these guys. So, where is... Oh, damn. Look what I forgot about. I swear. I just am besotted with that stuff. Okay. Large ring. And our plates. Now, a couple of things with this. It's just like a motorcycle clutch. And they can burn in the same way a motorcycle clutch can. This transmission's been apart before. See those scratches? Someone's gone to rough it up. I don't know if these are supposed to have little, what do you call it? Things on them. But it's an old trick with these when they go blue or they get worn. They've got hot spots. It's got hot spots in it. Hey, where's the camera? Can you see those hot spots along there? Someone's actually rubbed it with sandpaper or wet and dry. You can see them. This wasn't apart that long ago, I don't think. That was just a hair. If I see any delamination, no good. So far in this transmission, the only thing I've seen that I don't like is the burn marks on the low reverse drum. And I think that's because the band was out of whack. This has definitely been apart. Okay. So I'm just going to go through these. It's going to take a while because there's quite a few of them. And they're burnt. So either, there's one really burnt one coming up, either someone's been quite savage with this, but I think more than likely it's been just neglected and hasn't been serviced or adjusted. So we can clean all those up. You can reuse that stuff. It's not a problem. But so far, I'm happy as a pig in poo with this. It looks to be a very nice transmission. The next thing is this stuff in the intermediate. This is the intermediate clutch. Again, we've got another one of those spring clips. Let's take it off and have a look at these. That's where I release it. Come on, you. Out you come. Come on. Be a good boy. Come to Dad. There we go. I'm going to put that there. And I'm just going to do this. Cool. Oh, man, I was wrong. These are stuffed. Oh, hang on. Let me just get my bearings right first. Yeah, that's not fantastic. But I think these have been replaced. They look really fresh. But look at these. Yeah, I might get a new clutch pack. Look at the burning in that. My gloves are falling apart. Anyway, you get the picture. Oh, hang on a minute. This one's really sad and sorry for itself. I wonder if we can... I don't know if we can reuse that. That looks terrible. I wonder if it's dodgy to use a Scotch-Brite pad on one of those tools. That seems to do a lot of good. Right, that's our little examination over. It's all together. We know which way it goes. It goes that way. And it's all looking good. Really, comparatively, it's a heck of a lot better than I thought it'd be. So, I'll see what kits are available, what I need, and we'll come back and put it together. I sent a message to the Hydro Blaster to get this cleaned up, so I'm going to go and do that. And by the time we see it next time, it'll look nice and shiny and new. So, with that being said, take good care of yourselves, enjoy Classic, and I'll see you soon.